My name is Chuma Chini, and I am your family lawyer. I was called to the Nigerian bar in 1988, and I have over 35 years' experience in family law practice. I've helped countless families navigate Nigeria's complex legal terrain, and I am desirous of bringing this knowledge and expertise to you free of any charges. Today, we are getting into the nitty-gritty of marriage under the Marriage Act. Have you ever wondered what happens if you break those marital vows and commit adultery? It's wahala. It is wahala. It is not just a breach of trust. It is a veritable ground for dissolution of the marriage. What if you stray a little further and commit bigamy? That is to say, marry another wife whilst you are still married under the Marriage Act. This one is very big wahala. Very big wahala, my brother. We have for you today a real story, a true story that will leave you on the edge of your seat of what happens when a man marries under the Marriage Act and then marries again. All right, let's kick things off with the basics. When you tie the knot under the Marriage Act, you're signing a legally binding contract. And one of the fundamental terms of this contract is fidelity. Fidelity. The Marriage Act expects you to be loyal to your spouse and not have side chicks or sugar daddies. Let me say this again. The Marriage Act expects you to be loyal, and loyalty means you shouldn't have side chicks, you shouldn't have sugar daddies. In essence, it's all about monogamy. And monogamy means simply one man, one woman, one man, one wife. Once you are hitched, you just can't run off and marry someone else unless you get a divorce first. Next up, let's talk about bigamy. This big word, bigamy. It is the ultimate crime in the world of monogamy. The offense of bigamy is committed when someone who is already married, legally married under the Marriage Act, marries another person without first ending the initial marriage. It is not just a betrayal. Under the law, it is a crime. It is a felony. That is the one they call big crime. The small one is called misdemeanor. The big one is felony. When you marry someone else while still married, it is a felony. If you are caught, if you get caught, you could end up in prison for 7 years. And you heard me right. 7 good years of your life could be spent behind bars. The nearest one is in Kuje. The law takes this seriously because bigamy actually messes up with the very foundation of marriage. Though the law regarding bigamy is enforced more in breach, that is to say, the law exists, but not many Nigerian men have been tried or convicted for bigamy. But now you know that the law exists, and it exists to rein in errant men like you, truly men like you. Now let's present you with a real-life court drama. Some time ago, a certain Bartholomew Princewill thought that he could outsmart the system, the legal system that is. In 1950, he got married in church under the Marriage Act. A decade later, in 1960, he converted to Islam and married yet another woman named Fatima. But here's where the twist begins, because his first marriage was still valid. Valid because he was still married to the first wife whom he married under the Marriage Act in 1950. Now, let's see how this played out in the court.
Year 1950.
I, Bartholomew Prince, will take you Susan Douglas to be my lawfully wedded wife, till death do us part.
Year 1960. Islamic marriage rites are in progress between Bartholomew and Fatima, who he has taken as his second wife.
Mr. Princewill, you are accused of bigamy. How do you plead?
My lord, I am not guilty. I followed the customs of my faith. In Islam, I can have multiple wives.
But your first marriage was under the Marriage Act, which enforces monogamy, and you are still married to your first wife. Under the Marriage Act and Section 370 of the Criminal Code, A person cannot be married to more than one person at the same time under Nigerian law if the first marriage was conducted under the Act. While some religions and traditions permit polygamy, the Marriage Act enforces monogamy to prevent legal and social complications. The second marriage to Fatima is void and of no legal effect. This court also finds you guilty of bigamy. You are hereby sentenced.
And so, the case of R vs. Princewill showcases the legal consequences of marrying under the Act as a lifelong commitment to one wife. A man desirous of another wife after a marriage under the Act must first divorce the first wife. If you are not certain from the onset that one wife would be enough for you, then stick to customary law or Islamic law, marriages only. Be mindful that your choices may have consequences on the inheritance rights of your spouses and the children of your marriage.
Bigamy isn't just about avoiding jail time. It also messes up the inheritance rights of the children of those marriages. If bigamy occurs, the second marriage is void. It does not exist, meaning that the second spouse gets nothing, absolutely nothing, if the husband dies. This is super important when this husband dies intestate, that is to say, without making a will. Without a will, the legal spouse from the first, that is to say, the valid marriage, inherits everything. The second spouse has no legal claim, and this can lead to nasty fights among the kids from the two different marriages, especially if the first marriage is actually the valid one. In such cases, the Nigerian courts follow Nigerian intestacy laws, and the estate is divided among the legitimate spouse from the valid marriage and the deceased children. The second spouse from a bigamous marriage is left in the cold. This makes having a will and understanding your marital status really important at all times. So in a nutshell, bigamy isn't just breaking a promise. It is a crime that comes with serious consequences, like jail time and voided marriages. In addition, it can actually mess up a whole family when it comes to inheritance. If you are married under the Act or thinking about a second marriage, make sure you know the legal ropes. Always get legal advice to stay on the right side of the law. That will be it for today's episode of Your Family Lawyer. Please join us next week when we'll dig deep into how marriage under the Marriage Act affects property division and inheritance. Until then, stay informed and be empowered, and please be good to your family. My name is Chu Machini, and I am your family lawyer.